Hey everyone, and welcome to the PHILLIP Show. Listen, today we are talking about balance, right? We're in the middle of a lot. I know if you're out there listening, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in our lives. We speak to a lot of different entrepreneurs, all of these things, but where do we find balance and how do we find balance? Balance in our social life, personal life, our health, our fitness, our eating. What does that even look like? Balance in our business. So to help us on our personal journey to finding healthy balance, please welcome a health enthusiast, an entrepreneur, and owner of a fully prepared and packaged meal prep company called Picnk. Please welcome Will Foster. Will, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Good, good. I'm so excited that you're here.
I am as well.
Yeah, so we're talking about balance. You have such a long history of juggling things, and I love it. I love it. So before we get to your businesses, balance, what does that even mean to you? Is it even possible to find balance?
For a while, I don't know if I did think it was possible. I think it's something you definitely have to stay proactive at. And like many people, I was guilty for quite a long time of probably not prioritizing it. But I've learned that one secret is that over the years, even just a little bit of time each day on something that you're passionate about or something that is not work, that you can fit into your day makes it all a little bit better. So it's just being proactive about that and making sure that you implement that regularly.
Right. The small steps start to
Yeah.
become big steps and they become a journey and a conditioning of that. So you are an entrepreneur. How did that even get started?
Oh, wow. That's a long story.
Ah,
So it probably started when I was selling my grandma expired coupons when I was like 5, and
oh,
she's like, "Man, you're going to be a business guy someday." But yeah, I've always wanted to work for myself. I started as a personal trainer in Beaver Creek, Ohio, at a gym, and then when I was around 22, I was a sophomore at Wright State. And I decided to just kind of dive in, and I kind of wanted my own schedule, and I wanted to kind of control my own future. And so I started my first LLC. It was called Foster Athletics, and it was a personal training company. And doing that, for a few years, especially while in college and learning also while I was working, I really came to enjoy the freedom that it brought to me, in my day-to-day life. And I found more fulfillment working for myself with my clients than I did necessarily, working for another company or something like that.
yeah, well, it's always better, well,
Yeah.
they say it's better in, together, but sometimes like when you're working, it's better by yourself.
Yes. Sometimes.
So in the entrepreneur world, is how does someone, okay, for you with your businesses and all of the things that you're interested in, how do you compartmentalize to say, what, I'm going to spend this much time on this. I want to make sure that I'm staying fit. I want to make sure that my diet is, because it's very all inclusive, specifically when you work for yourself. It seems like there's never enough time.
Oh no, there never is. So
Yeah.
I mean, in my day, there's probably multiple things that I like say that I answer to. One of them is my business and my employees and the people involved in that business, and then some other projects that I am involved with as well. And then personally, it's not perfect, especially these last few years, but focusing on my physical health and mental health, and you have all these areas you're always trying to stay on top of, and then just the day-to-day life of taking out the trash and getting your oil changed and things that just go to the backside when you're working 90 hours a week. So it's not really anything original, but I keep a pretty detailed schedule, and reminders on my phone are like my best friend in terms of that. And so sometimes I'll try to do like some sort of healthy habit every day, no matter how simple, and then just check it as I go along. And it's part of that reminder every day when I wake up, you have to do it. Sometimes twice a day because the days fly by. So you need those reminders.
So for your, let's talk about Picnk.
Yeah.
We're talking about healthy, we're talking about balance. Tell us, what is Picnk and how does it fall into this like healthy and balanced category?
Yeah, absolutely. So Picnk's a meal prep company. So we offer ready to eat meals, similar to like HelloFresh or Blue Apron nationally, but Our meals we're not a meal kit. It comes as pictured there on the screen. And you just get online, select your meals, get them shipped to your home, and it kind of solves that problem of, having to go to the grocery store, having to cook, having to clean up, all that stuff. So it is, from a customer standpoint, an easy way to add a little bit of time back in their life and a little bit of balance back to their life, without swinging through, a fast food place or something, equally as affordable. So yeah, it can be a good piece to kind of the big health picture for customers.
Why did you decide on this? Why Picnk?
I've always been interested in food. I've always been interested in the food business and the business of hospitality and entertainment. And it was a perfect match for my clients when I was personal training. A lot of my clients asked about meal prep. I gave a lot of advice on nutrition, but I didn't give much advice on cooking back then. And just by chance, one of my roommates in college was a chef downtown at a restaurant. And so we were throwing around the idea. And back then I had a passion for this direction, I guess, but I didn't know anything about the business of food. But we started doing meal prep for people in their homes. And then that grew to a facility and then another facility, and then where we are today. But yeah, it started with fitness.
So with Picnk, how did you decide on, tell me how it's comprised. So do you have new menu items? How does that work with this brand?
In terms of the menu and how we release our items? Yeah, so a lot of other brands will cycle in maybe 5 items a week, each week you're 5 to 10 new items, right, constantly. We try to stick to 30 to 50 regular items on our menu, completely regular items. So that way you know what you're getting, your favorites there each week. And then we cycle in specials, soups, other meals, etc. And then we might switch up our menu seasonally, or once or twice a year fully, for that. And then a lot of our meals everything's cooked fresh. Most of it's our own recipes, and it's designed to last a week, so you can get everything, and then it's it stays fresh all week, and you can just pop in the microwave or oven. But yeah, we got a culinary team that's great. I just hired a new chef actually, and he's been fantastic and kind of elevating the experience for our customers. And I like running the business. I am not the cook. If I cooked, it would be over tomorrow. But I definitely like being involved in that process, and we try to keep it as creative as we can, but also continue to offer good product at an affordable price as well for our customers.
How involved are you in the creative process?
Well, I would say from start to finish, honestly. Okay. I try to give them the freedom to do what they want, and they are welcome to bring anything to the table to me. I still have the final say, of course, on everything. And but I've been learning to delegate, which is something we can talk about as entrepreneurs. It's something that took me a while, that's for sure. So yeah, I like to know what's going on most of the time, but I don't have to be involved massively from a time standpoint. They can, I make sure they have the tools they need and the resources they need, and then they can create what they want. As long as it tastes good and meets the numbers, and I think the customers are going to like it, I'm happy.
I love it because you're so well balanced. You're as long as it tastes good and meets the numbers.
Well, I got a business.
Right. So speaking of, and I love that you were talking about, entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that, number one, you're a young entrepreneur, but you have experienced every component. That's why I was asking you about the creative section, because a lot of times as business owners, we can segment our responsibilities into a lot of different categories, and sometimes we're very hands-off. Yeah. And then other times we're kind of manning the ship, and you mentioned delegation, and then kind of releasing, as we feel comfortable, okay, I'll let that go. As a young entrepreneur, when you started your journey, what are some of the misconceptions, that you had? The reason why I'm asking, because I know a lot of people that might be listening and they're thinking of becoming an entrepreneur as well. But what are some of the misconceptions you had about entrepreneurship?
Well, off the top of my head, I've got one, but I got one big one. Big misconception or a big stereotype is that a lot of people, I get this a lot, not as much anymore because I'm pretty vocal, and I'm like, no, that's not accurate. But a lot of people think if you work for yourself, your time's your own, and then therefore you can do what you want whenever you want. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you own a business, so you can just take a day off, or you can just take a week off, or you can whatever. And that is, unfortunately, at a certain stage. I'm not saying that doesn't happen someday if you you reach success or whatever that looks like for you, time freedom completely. But for most people, they got to put in a lot of work for a lot of years. And so, yeah, in theory, yes, I have the flexibility where if there's an emergency or something really big I got to get to, I don't have PTO, I don't have to ask for the time off, et cetera. But you end up putting almost, 2.5, or I would say, I'm sorry, 1.5 to 2 times the amount of work you would at a normal job, which that's a number, that's a phrase, but the number, that's 80 to 98, 95 hours a week. You know what I mean? Like there's 168 hours in a week. So you take, you sleep and try to squeeze in a workout, that doesn't leave a whole lot left. So I would say that's a big misconception in the beginning, at least.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. Yeah, because all of a sudden, even though your time is your own, you have something to do. What tools did you put in place? Because a lot of people may not, let's just use me as an example. If I'm listening, I'm like, oh, an entrepreneur. Yes, you actually can, create your own schedule. But what tools did you have to put in place? And it could just be time management or something. What did you have to do to say, even though nobody's telling me what to do, these are the disciplines that I had to make sure that I had in order to be productive?
Oh yeah, excuse me. It would be time management and my calendar. I know I keep going back to my calendar, but it's not just like scheduling meetings. It's reoccurring to-dos that you have to do to keep the business going, whether it's as infrequent as just staying up with compliance and codes and stuff like that. But it does happen, you know what I mean? Like once a year, every 6 months, or tax season or whatever, all those behind the scene things you don't think about. So making sure those are scheduled in, ahead of time, for months out, so you stay on top of them. But yeah, time management for sure. And to speak to that, sometimes carving out a certain amount of time for yourself that you just don't touch, you know what I mean? So a couple days a week, and it's usually mid-afternoon for me. I try not to schedule anything. Not that I'm not working on something, or I might not still be working, but I don't have anyone to talk to, and I don't have anywhere to be. And then kind of with myself, in agreement with myself, there are things that are very important or opportunities you can't pass up that, okay, it's okay to have, those couple hours I set aside. It's okay to pursue that. But not saying yes to everything.
Yeah, one of the things that I love is scheduling nothing actionable.
Yes, that's a great way to phrase it.
I have like nothing actionable. I love how you said it too, because it's like, I do have things that I can do, but sometimes can and must are different.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I totally feel you. We're like nothing scheduled. I don't have any to talk to anybody. I'm not on Zoom. I'm not committed to that.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you, for you, because I know there's ups and downs when it comes to working for yourself and by yourself a lot of times. How do you maintain a mental balance when it can be all too much?
That's a good question. Well, I didn't for a long time. And so, you kind of just, you work and you work and you work and you work and you work, and you kind of accept the stress and as part of it. And it will always be a part of it. I mean, I'm not gonna act like there's not stress. But yeah, I was probably 2 years into Picnk where I was just like, okay, this isn't sustainable. Like where you're looking at everything you have going on, you're looking at this company and you're like, okay, I have to work 90 hours a week. I have to work 80, right? That's not going to change. Like you have to do it for now, for where we're at. But you also like got to prioritize, your family or your personal relationships or stuff like that. And I let a lot of those fall to the wayside. Some of those relationships that are no longer there, because you just let it, you're so zeroed in. And so stay zeroed in, but don't be completely blind to everything else around you, and kind of integrate that back into your life where you can.
How do you do that? How do you decide what to let go of to make room for something else?
It all comes down to prioritizing. In my life, my priorities are my family, my friends, and my business. It's as simple as that. And so there's always going to be time commitments. There's always going to be someone to talk to or some meeting to go to or some networking thing, or the more you do, the more people that get to know you and want to get coffee or whatever. And that's fantastic. That is. But I always say this.
I was about to say, I'm like, hold on, don't talk about coffee now. Wait a minute.
I'll do coffee all day. But like, it's okay to say no. Like I am a big no person. My time is very valuable, and who I spend my time with is very valuable to me. And sometimes I like spending time alone. And so just because I don't have anywhere to, what's the saying? Just because I don't have anywhere to be doesn't mean I want plans or I want a meeting.
I love
You
it.
know, it's like, what are you doing Thursday night? Nothing. Oh, do you want? No, I'm doing nothing.
I,
I'm going to do nothing.
it's so interesting you're saying that, because my friends used to laugh at me, and you sound in that moment very much like me, because I was literally, I was a calendar and a planner person, and I
Yeah.
literally, I kid you not, scheduled nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Like
100%.
literally, I put it in there, and I literally said exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing? Nothing. Do you want? No, I literally am doing nothing. Like
Oh,
literally.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you said very kindly a young entrepreneur. 'Cause some days I don't feel like it. And you know, I'm at the age now where I ask somebody, you know, what are you doing this weekend? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, that sounds amazing. Like, enjoy yourself. Describe that to me in detail, slowly, please. Oh man.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, I know prioritization is. I think that that is key. And as you move forward, and you found that balance, are you able now? Is it still a challenge to kind of balance, or are you kind of in the position where it's just like, okay, I get it, I understand how to schedule, and I can
Mhm.
rationally say I'm not doing that, or this takes more priority today.
Yes. I would say I'm about 90% there. I have to be
Mhm.
proactive about it, but I'm definitely like almost there, you know, because you could look at it and it's not perfect. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, I'd say I'm almost there. I prioritize everything I just talked about saying no and all that. I prioritize that a lot more than I used to. You know,
Mhm.
the majority of the time. And so that helps with that balance.
Having a physical fitness, if you will, background
Mhm.
as well, do you think that that plays a major role in a lot of people's lives, or do you think it should play a role when it comes to balance and health? And
Being physically active.
yeah.
Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%. I found so to date, and I don't do it as much as I used to. I've hung on to a few clients that you know have been with me a long time, but I think I've done over 17 or 18,000 personal training sessions since like
Well,
2012. So I mean, it's a lot. That sounds like a large number and crazy, but like I did the math, and I'm like, that seems accurate. And so I've worked with a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. Not everybody you train is a superstar athlete. You know why? Because very few people are. The majority is just
yeah.
the general population who want to just look good and feel good, and that means different things to everybody. So I worked with quite a few people, and I would always teach them that you know a little bit goes a long way.
Mhm.
So you know you don't have to go to the gym and work out for 2 hours or you know or even an hour some days. You know, you can just squeeze in 15 to 20 minutes. And if you build that into your routine, it's always better than nothing. You know,
Yeah.
almost anything is always better than nothing. So it doesn't have to hurt necessarily. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. You don't have to be like a big competitor. You can just do what you're good, you know, or what you feel good. And you know, that's pretty much it if you just stay consistent.
Yeah, it's always better to do something than nothing. I think that
Yeah.
that spans like everything. Even we're talking about time management, identifying things when it comes to boundaries. It's
Yeah.
like you don't have to identify everything. Just identify something.
Yeah.
Identify
Yeah.
some place in your calendar where you can make adjustments for whatever
Oh
your
yeah.
priorities are. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times people can get overwhelmed, you
Yeah.
know, specifically with physical health. You want to
It
go
can
to
be
the gym right
intimidating.
before. You can be
Yeah.
intimidated. You want
Yeah.
immediate results. I know when and if I work out, I want the results like today, you
I know.
know? I want to do
I
my
know.
push-ups and get up and be like I'm ripped and ridiculous,
Yeah.
So that's what I
Yeah.
want,
And
but
the first day you started your show though, I mean, did you expect to have this many interviews immediately? You didn't. You knew you had to put in the time, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
put in the work. And the same applies to the gym.
yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And that leads into I want to pick your brain
Mhm.
for
That's dangerous.
entrepreneurs. We'll keep it TV. We'll keep it
All
TV.
right. Okay.
Yeah. I want to pick your brain for some tips to
Mhm.
give young or just regular or more mature just business owners. What are
Mhm.
some tips for business owners when it
Mhm.
comes to like a healthy balance?
Okay, well, I'm not going to act like I didn't write these down, so I wouldn't forget
Oh,
before
see,
this.
see,
So I
see,
have
this is
notes.
like, see, these are this was a priority, and you
It's a
see,
priority, exactly, because my brain goes everywhere and I forget things, even if it's important sometimes, because there's so much going on. So I have my list here. So the first one, and you've heard of all these, but this is what I have done and what I find to be valuable. But surround yourself with good people. Okay,
mm,
I've got a great team. I've got good partners in this business. I've got good employees. I've got good mentors, right, that support me. And I've definitely got, we can't always control our family and friends, but I've got great groups of them too. But focus on surrounding yourself with good people in the business and surround yourself with good people, mentors. Get a mentor. Honestly, I have like 4 or 5 that I meet with regularly, even if it's monthly. Always ask, because the worst they can say is no matter what it is in business.
sure.
Just it never hurts to ask. Challenge yourself to commit to things that you don't necessarily know if you can pull off. When you're a business owner, like for example, people assume that I just know all this business terminology and I have a business degree and all this stuff. And most business owners don't have a business degree, right? So like they think that you know all this stuff, and you learn it. And there's ways to learn it, but commit to things that can seem maybe a little scary, or you're not quite ready for it yet. And as long as you think you can pull it off and respect the customer, respect everybody, just see what happens. I have this strong belief that there's a solution for everything. So you could commit to something and we'd figure it out. So find fulfillment in your work, for sure, or find something about it, because it's not always going to be easy, but find fulfillment in your work. We are a small company, but I do find fulfillment in providing employment. I find fulfillment in offering a quality product, and then I find fulfillment in the community work that we are focused on at Picnk, and and how we give back. So I really find that fulfilling. And then kind of to switch gears, just be ready to hurt, because it's painful. So you can talk about stress and balance and all that stuff, but it is massively uncomfortable to start and run a business. It can take some time. It takes a lot of hours and a lot of sacrifice. And then finally, accept that something's always going to go wrong. Like it's never going to go to plan. There's always going to be a problem, whether it's with a person or a product or financial, or there's always going to be something that goes wrong. You try to keep those low and learn from them so they don't happen again, but there's always going to be something, some obstacle in life or in business. And so you just accept that, and you don't waste a lot of energy getting upset about that, and you focus on the solution. I drive my people nuts because I always say solution-based thinking. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to spend a lot of time getting angry or upset or whatever about the problem.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'd rather just focus on, okay, how are we going to fix this? Because it's always going to be something else. So why am I going to waste my time? So I think that was 6, but
Those are good. One of my favorites. Well, let me just umbrella it. I love the be realistic.
yeah.
I think there's a realistic component to the things that you're saying. It's like, if you want this, if this is the direction that you want to go, these are the components to getting there, as well as go in with eyes wide open.
Oh yeah, exactly.
A lot of times we started this conversation with, a lot of times people look to entrepreneurship as seeing the benefits of working for yourself. You don't have to punch a time clock. You can work for that is true. And that you can't romanticize all of the challenges away, all of the hard work away either. So go all of the frustrations away, because they will come. And they'll also come for your personal business. So accept amazing times, as well as there may be some challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so so we only have a few more minutes. Who is the premier or premium client or customer for Picnk?
Who's our target customer base? Who utilizes us the most?
Yeah, that'd be the business way to ask.
Yeah. Oh man. So I get that question a lot. Currently, from a marketing and advertising standpoint, we don't target any specific group. We have found that if you're 65 years old and maybe a partner or no partner, and you're at home, you like the convenience of our food. If you're a family of 5, you know what I mean? Maybe parents average age 30, 35 with some young kids, you utilize us. And then we have college kids that use us. Of course, athletes make up a large portion of our customer base. You know, we are not aimed at just athletes. You know, if you just want to eat healthy, or even if you just want the convenience. I don't think some people, they love the food, but it just happens to be healthy and they like the service. So currently, we're here to serve everybody. And across the board, we've found that all populations will continue to utilize us. So
Nice. I like the convenience factor. I think we're in
yes,
a time right now. Number one, there's a lot of people that are at home. A lot of
yeah,
our lifestyles have completely shifted, and sometimes we're
yeah,
not out as much as we were,
mhm,
be it because, it ain't safe, or our lives have completely done a 360,
mhm,
180, I guess that would be. So even for people
yeah,
that are entrepreneurs now, a lot of times we're looking for things that are healthy, but that are convenient
yes,
because we have so much to do. I know
mhm,
myself, I don't have the time really to
yeah,
sit and think of like an entire week's worth of food that I'm literally gonna cook.
yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah,
So I love how you broke that down. And for people who are just on the go, who are busy, who want the convenience of, great food with some great service that
yeah,
is really trendy, that's what I see. And that has
yeah.
great branding from my
We
perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about time freedom. You can either, start a business and look like me, or you can just order Picnk and get hours of your week back.
See, there you
So,
go. We're providing solutions here. It's
I got a
solutions.
solution-based thinking right here. That's crazy. That's wild.
I, I love it. Oh, and I do want to ask because you mentioned that Picnk is involved in some give back programs, or they
Yes.
work with some things in the community. What is that?
Yeah. So I mean, we always are very approachable just generally, I mean, I can't always help, but if somebody approaches us, it doesn't matter the organization, we're pretty generous in terms of maybe a monetary donation or, food if we feed their group or we do a catered event for them or something. We do a lot of pay it forward. So we're not a nonprofit, but if somebody gives us $100, that might buy 10 meals at regular price or 12 meals regular price, or I could do like 30 meals at almost at cost. So as long as everything's covered, we're willing to put in some of the time and the effort and the energy to kind of get that out there. So that started actually in 2020 when COVID hit. I had a friend that gave me just 25 bucks. He said, "Hey, I know it's going to get hard. Can you make sure this gets to somebody in need?" I was like, "Sure, like, absolutely. I'll get some meals to people." I just made an innocent Facebook post just on my personal page. So I said, feel good, whatever, right? And we had like $3,000 in 2 days that we just were whipping out meals for. Then we had the honor of feeding the food bank downtown Dayton, and we fed 30 members of their staff and 30 members of the National Guard. We
Wow.
did 60 meals a day, twice a day for them. It was very low cost per head. But we were there to put in the energy and the effort to make sure that they got their 120 meals a day, so they could do the good work they do, for the
Right.
community. So to date, I think since COVID started, through either holiday time or just random, contributions, I think we've given away over 15,000 free or reduced meals in the last 2 years,
Mm.
which is quite a bit. And then we currently we support we've done this for about a year and a half now. We support a local nonprofit called Kind Kids in New Directions.
Hmm.
And it's an after school program for kids that provides a variety of services, and it's a great program to check out. But we feed 45 kids Monday through Thursday dinner at an also very reduced rate. So we can't always give things away. We are a small business, but I will meet you low. I'm talking $1 to $3 a meal, depending on what it is. So, but that's kind of a kind of overview of some of the work we do.
That's awesome. And that's at picnickdayton.com to learn more, correct?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. So before we go, I'm going to give you the opportunity. What is, in your own words, what encouragement would you give to somebody who is looking for healthy balance and may not be finding it, but
Mhm.
just kind of needs some words of encouragement just to move forward?
I would say we always have all these things we need to be doing, right? We want to eat right. We want to go to the gym. We want to sleep a little longer, maybe drink more water. Just pick one. Just pick one thing. Don't worry about the others. You know what I mean? I don't care if your goal is to go to the gym and that's the one you want, and you keep drinking pop and you go to McDonald's on the way home from the gym. That's fine, because we'll get to that next. Just go to the gym 20 minutes a day, or pick one of the other ones and start with that. But just one thing. I have a rule every day. I'm not when I wake up, I'm a coffee drinker. We talked about this. But I make myself drink at least 8 ounces of water when I wake up every day. It is so cliche, but it is so simple. So no matter how I feel, just drink that water to start your day. And then you have 6 cups of coffee. I don't care. But at least I started with water. And I wish I was joking about the 6, but balance, right? You know?
And I wish I didn't know what you were talking about. But,
I have no idea.
I have no clue what you're saying.
My comments do not reflect the view of the company, etc.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your inspiration and your brand and everything that you're doing for the community. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So listen, our takeaway today is, if you're out there and you're looking for healthy balance, Will said it best. Find one thing. Don't overwhelm yourself. There are so many things that we can do, and we may need to get to them eventually. But if you're wondering what to do, start something. And one good start is a huge step forward. So just begin something today. All right. So go to picnickdayton.com and learn more about Picnk. And remember that you are the best you in the world. We'll see you next time here on The PHILLIP Show.
Don't